Okay, at the same time I picked up the old Philips Walkman that wasn't repairable. I picked up this Hitachi 5000, TRK5000E. And it did have a sticker on it saying radio works but tape doesn't. Also this, looks like they got dual pots, the actual knob here is broken on the tone. Quite an interesting style with these sort of plastic things with a little band there to show you where on the markings you are. Very kind of 70s looking thing. Little edge meter there for tuning, record and battery. Oh, we've got a light, except just for the, well, it must just be for the actual dial. The meter, I mean, not the radio dial. Oh, it's actually got a chrome setting for the tape. The beat cancel for the radio, I assume that is. AFC. Loud. I've got shortwave, long wave. So definitely a kind of 70s thing. Oh, it's actually a little, I thought you sort of slid that, but there's actually a little tuning knob there thing, little thumb wheel. Condenser microphone. Remote mic, oh of course that's for the microphone, the remote pause. Most of the old mics came with a dual plug and a little switch on them so you could pause the tape. Monitor, so I guess that's either headphone or line, unless it's got a separate headphone socket. I guess that's probably the headphone, that's the monitor, is probably the, like a tape output, like a line output DIN, and then 9 volt. Oh no, that says record playback above that, doesn't it? So okay, record playback. So it's got actually possibly got a line in. So you had a second tape deck you could hook up, I guess, to dub across from this thing. Oh, that's an interesting one. Or maybe you could play on an external one and record on this one. Does it have a recorder? I assume it would. Here, record, stop eject. Ooh, that's very hard to press. I don't reckon this mech's been used in a while, and it doesn't come back, so this is going to be a dried up grease job as well as faulty belts possibly. I can see the grease in there already, it looks pretty dry. Very old looking mech. So I'll just have a quick look. Not the nicest looking speaker grill I've ever seen. And it looks like the tabs are broken off the battery compartment cover. But that's reasonably clean. They're a little bit corroded looking, the terminals, but oh yeah, there's a little bit of brown stain, so she has had a bit of leaky batteries in there at some point. Well, at least the screw near the battery hole is in nice clean condition, so that hasn't gone far. Must be a long one. Three screws, there's another one. And at least if the ribbon's clean that holds the batteries, or goes under the batteries to help pull them out again, that's a sign it hasn't leaked much. Usually if there's a whole bunch of batteries gone off in them, that'll be absolutely covered in brown stuff. So it's usually in the days of the old red Duracells or whatever brand people were using, or the black ones or whatever, the standard carbon zinc type batteries. I think this just slides off nicely. Antenna's a little corroded but otherwise intact. Ooh, we've got a bit of dust in there, and we don't have a belt at all by the look of it. Ooh, I can see a bit of black stuff on the, yeah, black goo on the transformer, so that belt's well, oh yeah, there it is. Oh, it's all wrapped around the motor. What a surprise. Now the next thing I need to know is how do I get rid of this back completely, because so I've got battery terminals connected, and at least we can unscrew the terminal here for the antenna, but it looks like the battery ones are going to have to be unsoldered if you want to get rid of it completely. Oh, come out of there. Take the whole antenna off. I'll put that screw back in that hole. So we know where that is, so that's free. Well, I guess the point is the power on this unit's all on this back cover, so we've got quite a good long lead here, so you can work on it and run it, but there's not even any point in running it at the moment because there's the belt all wrapped around the pulley, and yeah, the pulley's barely even turning. And there's a little bit more of the belt that I'm not even going to touch that. That bit of goo there, oh yuck, it's just turned into crude oil, I think. Of course I didn't want to get it on the motor, I wanted to get it on the cotton boat. Now I've just left a black stain there. There's a bit more of it there, there's a bit of it on this wire here. We do have, it looks like a counterbelt here that's still somewhat intact, so thankfully that might have been found maybe before it's gone completely off. There's a bit more belt around this pulley. There's another pulley here which does have more belt attached to it, as well as some dragging behind it. So the big problem is we don't know exactly where the belt path was, but I guess it just probably went up round one. Oh, of course we've got the capstan here. Now I've got some on me, which is why you don't bother wearing your Sunday best doing this sort of stuff. And there's a bit more belt sticking out there, which I can't even see down in the groove where it goes. Ooh, get off me. Now I just turned it into a big black mark. I'm not a fan of these gooey belt jobs, but I guess the only good side is it's obvious what's wrong with this thing. So there's not really much of a video on this one, I guess. It's just going to be the same old standard job of trying to get all this greasy, oily muck off here. It just spreads everywhere, look at all that. And I didn't even get rid of it. Well, let's just see if the basic functions work. God, look at the size of the speaker in the thing. So no wonder it's got that horrible grill on the front, because it's got a massive oval speaker in there. Massive thing. I must admit it probably sounds alright. That's an absolute monster. I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting one of the little round 100mm or so ones, but you don't see a lot of Hitachis around. They always make pretty good stuff in my experience. And someone gave me this really dodgy cord with it, which I guess maybe the original owner had. It's got a figure 8, but I'm pretty sure this plug here is one of the square type. I think these do actually kind of fit it, but oh yeah, reasonably well. And it pushes a little, you've got a little battery switch in there, so if that doesn't get pressed, then it will run off mains. But yeah, that cord one's chucking out with that dodgy old plug on it, I think. So we might as well at least have a look. Scratch the volume, what a surprise. So it's a long wave. Sounds like it's probably working.
One is, and that, my friend, is the topic of today. Right. Okay, well, listener Peter Scott did ask in an email, should you have a programme on the square root of -1? Well, Peter, I'm going with no. But it may be that I've already lost this battle. Indeed you have, because the answer is yes. And
that's a pretty beefy sounding speaker for one of these.
Through this weird landscape, we've got Dr. author of The Math That Made Us, and Dr. Ellen, the philosopher of physics.
Won't be anything on shortwave to pick up, I wouldn't think. Haven't got an antenna at the moment, have we? That's doing pretty well with no antenna on the AM.
About 7.5 meters away, third would get more done. Subtly get all the men in this world wrapped around their fingers over time. So that Terry Pratchett's Discworld is probably my favourite of the adaptations. I don't think the movies ever quite
your Macbeth tartan kilt on to have a reread of
It's interesting, it's got the BBC frequencies, something at Paris, Luxembourg, on long wave. Whether they're for the long wave or for the short wave, because I don't think they're for FM or AM. How many meters your short wave's on. So that's not bad. Obviously, set up for Europe maybe. Oh no. Oh, there's a light on the dial there. You just see that light up in the corner. And I think what was the beat cancel for, or something to do with, oh that's right, the record, was it recording, the record oscillator or something, and the AM, I think it shifted the frequency or something, the race oscillator and bias oscillator for record, chrome. So let's see if we at least get, well that motor wasn't feeling the best, so does it turn when we, oh, it does, it's a bit slow to get going, but it's spinning. It's not making any horrible noises. I'll stop eject button's a bit slow to come back up. That's alright there. Oh, Q button's hard to press, so this is going to need a major service, I would think. I want all that dust getting out of it. It's even got a fuse in here, so that's impressive. Something they soon got rid of. They didn't care if the bridge rectifier went or something and killed your transformer in the later ones. So they may have had a thermal fuse in the transformer anyway, I guess, by that stage. Have a quick look, see if we can actually get this board out easily. There's a black screw there, of course every, how do I undo the black one or the silver one? Maybe Hitachi used black screws where Panasonic uses red ones, I don't know. Oh, what's going on here? It's already tilting up. Oh, that's, maybe the black ones undo the chassis part. So the radio dial bit's coming up with it. This is quite different. So a bit of length here, I guess, so we can actually move stuff. It's kind of coming, but kind of not. I think we need to drop those two switches out. What's holding it? Always got to worry about these radio dials. Dial cords. I think that's just these wires, I think is all. Probably need to unwrap these a bit. What have they done here exactly? Oh, they tucked under this on the black wire. Oh, I see, there's a little loop there to. Am I meant to unsolder that? That's a bit different. Looks like I am. Look at that. What an interesting design. Never seen that before that I can remember. And these other wires. But one of those is really short, so that's not much use. We've got a little wire holder here. Let's free things up a bit. Oops, something just fell off. What was that? Is that the wire? Oh, that's the button for the light. Wish I wouldn't put loose things like that in things. Yeah, 8 ohm 5 watt speaker. Where's the audio output in this thing, I wonder? Don't know that it'll put out 5 watts, but this was looks like a reasonably substantial bit of audio it could do. Now that was what was holding that back, and then we've got 2 blue wires. Where on earth are they? They're in some sort of clip or something. They've been glued on. Oh, it should be another lamp under the dial, radio dial by the look of it. I see that one runs all the time and is blown. Where are the wires for it? One goes to the earth there, one comes across to the other lamp area. But chances are it's going to measure as a circuit. Yeah, both the lamps are in parallel. Well, that's the most annoying wire because it's short. So that makes perfect sense. The lamps would be in parallel with each other. Now do we have a working lamp? I doubt we do. No, we do. Was that actually lit up? I didn't notice it lit up. No, I'm going to have to plug that in again and check. Maybe it's just dim, or maybe I'm just dim. Because I didn't spot a lamp there. Not that I was expecting one, but it's good if you actually notice these things sometimes. Oh, over there. What does it light up? It moves along with this piece, and yet I can't. How on earth does it light it? Or does it light up? Oh, maybe it lights up the radio dial. Under this switch, it was meant to. Where's our volume? Running. Or wouldn't be FM stereo light or something, would it? Slide tuning mechanism. No, it goes across the other. Oh, is it when we press? Of course, we've got to press the switch for the other lamp, don't we? Because they're in parallel. Oh, it does too. It lights up the. I can see the 700, 800 there lit up. Don't know whether the camera can pick that up, and I have to turn the lights right off. But there it is, actually lit up. Oh, there it is, over there a bit. Oh, yeah, there it is, you can see it. Where I'm covering up there, a few numbers. Doesn't do much of a job, but I guess it's better than nothing. And as you move the dial along, it lights up where your dial's at. What an oddball design. We should focus that in because we're miles out of focus because the radio's so high, but anyway. Always amazing the odd little features you find in these things. So I might actually disconnect that again because that's a short wire on this chassis. And then we have this great big speaker, 8 ohm 5 watt, made in Japan. You've got a 3-pin electric microphone up the top there. The board with the slider pots on it, probably that want it cleaned. And we've got, yeah, what have we got? A few wires for the. Is that the head? Oh, that's the motor. Oh, it says motor there. There you go. 2 wires coming across here for the motor switch by the look of it. So not directly to the motor. So the motor comes up. And there's an orange wire heading off, so that probably goes to the other end of this switch or something. It's not the world's easiest thing to work on, but not too bad. I just want to get this mech out. It's a plastic framed mech by the look of it. Just see what I'm actually dealing with. at least if I do feel like cleaning lots of oily old belt or something one day, I know what else I'm up for in this unit, because I wouldn't be surprised if it needs a lube. There's another screw up there by the look of it, so it's 3 of them. It's got the little wire clamp thing there too, just to be difficult. I think that's got the mech free, has it? Oh, it hasn't. Oh, I need to eject the door. Which one was eject? One of those. Oh, there it is. Get rid of the door. That would have been what was holding it. And there we have it. Quite an old school mech. It's got another little belt here, which is not the best. That definitely wants ripping out, I think. And a counter belt, which still I think works. And the counter's going backwards there. Not sure what this other one does. Is it something to do with the oh, that's off the capstan. Interesting. Is that maybe an auto stop mech or something under here? Yeah, it looks like it could be something like that. It's actually got rubber wheels, or a rubber wheel on that take up reel. I think that's solid plastic, but another idler here. So they're potentially going to be an issue. That's the play button. We've got something oily on that. Oh, that was fast forward. There it is. Something oily on that button there. Let's check. The pinch roller doesn't look too bad. Does feel a little soft, but maybe that might be right. Some of them were a bit. So we're in play mode at the moment. I'll just see compared to that pulley. I'm probably getting black muck off the belt all over me. It's not the best, but I think that's enough. Enough torque for our playback. Or does this pull in a particular direction, this thing, because of the belt tension? It probably... no, I put my finger on the motor pulley with the gooey belt, but that's not too bad. Because if that idler was completely worn, you wouldn't even start working on it. And one of these was fast forward and rewind. Hang on, what's going on here? Let's get rid of that. That's definitely one. I thought these locked down. Which bit? Oh, that's what that other pulley does. That is not the best, at least with no belt tension on it. Seems to slip fairly easily, but with belt tension on there it might pull together a bit better. Doesn't help that this button doesn't engage the best either. Not sure that's going to rewind or fast forward real well if that's what the... Yeah, it's got reasonable... So that might be alright. Reasonable torque. Yuck, black stuff everywhere. So at least I know what I'm dealing with here. I've got 2 other belts that definitely want replacing, or at least taken out of the unit. Probably better just to put new ones in there, just so at least there's something in there of the right length that isn't about to rot. Oh, you go back in. Perhaps because the door's back up, maybe. Oh, it just doesn't. Oh, I think you've got to lift the handle up a bit, I think. That's it. Maybe shut the door. So something kind of got to think about with these things is, even if you're not going to fix them, do you replace some of the belts in there, or at least remove the old ones so you don't end up with the goo everywhere. If one's gone, the other are far behind, and they were sticking a bit, those ones, so they're definitely on their way. But yeah, I'm more just wanted to explore it and see what the story is. It's not a particularly attractive or exciting unit, But I'd say it'd probably be a reasonably rare one, being a Hitachi. You don't see a lot of Hitachi stuff around from this era, but they did make some good boom boxes and stuff over the years. And I'd say this, looking at the, I was going to see what the amplifier's like in it if I can see it. Looking at the speaker and stuff, this would have been a more expensive one, so probably not your average sort of Kmart one that people buy. I'd say they're the amp chips there. A couple of Sanyo A401s, so I guess it's an LA4102, sorry. Yeah, if it's an A, it's usually an LA4102. I guess I should look them up. They've got like the heatsink things at the back, and there's two of them, so I think we can say they're more than likely the amp chips. Well, they're two. Why would we need two? It's only mono, isn't it? Okay, that throws the spinner in the works. So why are there two of anything in here? That's an interesting one. Where's the speaker connector go to, I guess, but then it's probably going to go via a headphone socket or something, isn't it? Yeah, back up here towards the sockets, I think. And the other end just goes there. I'll have to look those chips up and see what they are, but they're the only thing. Everything else looks like radio front end over here. Got a little AN chip, which again has coils and stuff next to it. Where the heads go, it's the next issue. The head wires are all the ones, that's probably that AN chip. Oh, of course, we've got a record playback switch here. Possibly part of the bias oscillator there. So unless one of those amp chips is used, it's like someone's put little white lines around things, but have they labelled them? Maybe it's on the back of the board. Nope. Sometimes I used to split the board up into sections to put a little thing around to give you a guide where each part of the circuit was, but if they don't label it, it's not much use. And since it goes through all these sockets and stuff, it makes, oh, I guess we can follow this track back, and that definitely goes to a pin on one of those LA chips. Ooh, looks like our motor's become disconnected. That's great. So I wonder if the motor or something is connected to this other one. Oh no, that went to an orange wire that went off. That probably goes via the pause socket is what that would be. That's how that pause on your microphone used to work. I think just switch the motor on and off. God, that small amount of work, it's... there's another wire that won't strip with these cutters. Not having much luck. It's like those Walkman wires, I couldn't... Is it something to do with this lead catcher, mate? Oh, is that the problem? That might be the issue. These have got a lead catcher thing on them. I think that's what's going on. I'm not used to using a pair with a lead catcher on them. Where's those other ones? Is that what it was? That's all it was. There you go, don't use your component cutting lead catching snippers, side cutters with wire stripping jobs. That would explain a lot. I wonder why I couldn't get those other ones stripped. That's what you get for buying things with fancy features on them. They do weird things. That's one problem we've got all this transformer attached, is it makes it difficult to get everything else back into place. Are those wires meant to sit there, or are they meant to come around the top? Must go around the top there somewhere. And of course we've got a bunch of wires here. And that's the worst thing, trying to get all the lead dress back into place. And they're getting caught up in this switch and stuff. Oh, I've got to get that. Ah, come on, Hitachi, what are you doing? I'll get this switch, light switch back in place. Not a good idea, that. But this whole board doesn't really seem to feel like going back together. Back into place, there it is, I think. Got it. think there's a black screw there. And where do I see the other one? There, I think. That was it. That's just the antenna. I'll leave all those other wires hanging for now. Yeah, the rest of it's just held together by the back cover, I guess. What was I going to do? Oh, antenna. Oh, I put a little screw back there, didn't I? There's the antenna hole there. They've just made it too short. Not if you slide the back over, I guess. Oh, come on. Okay. That should, if I don't pinch any wires and stuff, go back together. We got one. Oh, where did that come from? One cable holder. Oh, was that on that? Must be one of those black screws. Now that won't come off. So I think for now I'll just put this thing back together. Uh-oh, what have I got here? Did that come out of this? Don't think so. Might have done. So for now I'll just put this thing back together, and one day when I get more motivated, I know what to do. We need two little belts on the front, and it's just a matter of working out the path that other one took, which shouldn't be too hard, and having to spend the time cleaning all that goo off. But anyway, thanks for watching.